So, before I get started, so the format for these trainings, if you're new to this, is I'm trying to make it as interactive as possible. We have a good group today, so I don't think I'll be able to do a typical type of training where we're all in the playground and we can do exercises. So maybe I can have, oh, we have Ben joining as well. Okay, we have a good number of folks here. Um, Hi, Ben. So, like I was saying, I try to make these as interactive as possible. You can interrupt me at any point to ask me some questions. But today, the focus will be all about playground. So this is not a typical training that we have on Tuesdays, where we mostly talk about how to get started with Koala, the whiteboard, the code browser. Today, we'll be focusing on playground. Before I get started, are there any questions? And what's your, just so I can gauge a little bit your level of um, proficiency with Koala? Would you say that you're new? Maybe you can type in the chat or you can say it out loud, whatever. But yeah, novice. Okay. So relatively new, I would say, maybe getting started. Okay. New. Okay. All right. Have you all been to the Tuesday training already or not yet? Okay. All right. So I might unfortunately, okay. Yeah. I would definitely recommend that you all sign up for, if you can. Oh, I'm new here to the Tuesday training. Okay. Yeah. If you can join the training that we have on Tuesdays, I'll send a link for how to join it because it will help you with getting started from like scratch. I can give you a glimpse today, but again, the focus will be mostly playground today. So that's what we'll be talking about. Give me 1 second. Yeah, September 18th, that's today. And then we have September 23rd, and that's going to be how to get started with Koala. And I'm going to put it in the chat. So feel free to join this particular training, which again will be more of a, learn Koala from the very beginning. Um, so today, again, I'm going to share my screen with you all. And I'm going to try, because I understand you're all mostly new. So I'll try to quickly go over some of the steps. And I'm going to share my screen right now. Give me 1 second. Create a new activity. Go. All right. Share screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Okay. Excellent. So I can see. Yeah. All right. So the first thing, I mean, I'm assuming you all have signed in to the classroom at least once. If not, I'm going to put the link to how to get to your classroom in the chat, in the Zoom chat. If I can find it, can never find that thing. Here we go. Chat. There you go. So go to that. And then it's going to ask you to put your email after you solve a little challenge that proves that you're not a robot. And then after that, you just get the code from your email and you're in. You do not have to create an account. Okay. So for those of you that are really new to Koala, again, this will be covered next Tuesday. But in the meantime, if you want to try to follow along, I would recommend trying to get to your classroom right now. Once you're in your classroom, you'll see likely something like this. And again, the first thing you see is the whiteboard, right? Koala has this thing where whenever you open your classroom, you always land in the whiteboard. If you refresh the page, you land in the whiteboard. Okay. We do have two other main apps in Koala. We have the co-browser over here. That's this little planet icon. And then, of course, the playground, which is this little squirrel down here, or chipmunk. So, of course, in order to go to playground, we're going to click up down here. Okay. But before I do that, I want to make sure I answer questions. Are there any questions, even basic ones? I know you're all mostly new, so I'm Be very happy to answer any question you might have before I jump into playground here. If you're wondering how to invite a student, that's pretty important. All you have to do is click invite student in the top left, okay? And that will sort of open your room for business, right? To be able to accept students in your room. Make sure to share this link with your students, okay? If you close this window by accident, you can always reopen it by clicking on a little silhouette with a plus. And this link is your unique link for students to join your room. It never changes, and it will always be the same for all students. Okay, so make sure to share this with your students. You might have noticed already that there are two sort of operating modes. There's the what we call the private mode, where you don't see yourself, right? You don't see your little camera on the left, but you have access to all the stuff, the whiteboard, the playground, the co-browser. And in this mode, you're not going to get interrupted by students trying to join your room. If you're ready to accept students, don't forget to click invite student to sort of open your classroom for business. And so you click invite student, you see yourself, and that means that students can start joining. Can you have a small group of students in the room? Yes. We recommend up to 3 students, Georgina. I don't know how many you want to have, but okay. So with that said, any other questions before I get started on playground? Nope. All right, so we're gonna jump into playground. I'm gonna click on the little squirrel button. So now understand that as a teacher or as a mentor, you're the only one who decides when to go from whiteboard to co-browser to playground. The student just follows along. Okay, they can't just go to playground on their own without you starting it yourself. Okay. So at any point, you as a teacher can decide, okay, we're gonna go to playground. And you click on the little squirrel or the chipmunk, and it'll open playground. And once you're in playground, of course, you'll see your student or your students if you have multiple students, and yourself and your own avatar, which has your name right above. If you don't know how to change your name, by the way, because I think by default it says teacher, you can always change it by clicking on the menu, go to settings down here, and then look, you see how it says nickname? You can change this to whatever you want. And it'll change. So you might have to refresh for it to be fully taking into account in playground, but next time around it'll be your name. Cool. So welcome to playground. This is probably the first thing you'll see. And again, you saw the avatar falling from the sky with their parachute. And I made it all the way to the ground. And once I'm on the ground, I can walk around. So I can just click. The name of the game in playground is left click to go somewhere and left click to put things around. If you can point and click, you can pretty much use playground. So for example, I'm going to move my character over here. So I just move my mouse in that little corner, click, and my avatar will go there. Click. You can also maintain the left mouse button down by and then move your mouse as you do so, and your avatar will sort of follow your mouse like a cat following a cursor or sorry, a laser pointer. Any questions on this type of movement like that? Hopefully that's easy enough, and if you can do it at the same time, it would help with addressing, or maybe if you have questions, I can answer them right away. So far, so good. I don't see a lot of reactions, so I'm assuming this is easy so far. Another important thing you can do is you can change your angle of view. So sort of like if you want to, for example, let me show you. I have this board, this whiteboard, there's blackboard here. I want to see what's behind it. I mean, I could try to move my avatar behind it like this, but I still don't see what's behind it. And the fundamental problem here is my view angle, right? So I want to change my view angle. I can hold right click down, move my mouse as I hold right click down, right? And that allows me to orbit around my character. Okay. It's very similar to Google Earth, if you ever use Google Earth or things like that, tools like that allow you to sort of orbit around or pan around. Okay, so now I can see behind the board. I can even put a little secret message here with my pen. Okay. Any questions on those basic movements? So if you combine both, you can literally just pretty much navigate anywhere you want. You gotta get used to it a little bit. It might take a little bit of practicing, but if you you'll get proficient pretty quickly, and your students will know how to use it right away. You can also zoom out, zoom in. So one of the reasons you would want to do this is like, say you want to sort of see what your students are doing in the room. You can get a God's view by scrolling out, and then you can really look from all the way from above, and you see everything. Okay. Any questions so far? Or do you have to use a mouse? Or yeah, it works with a trackpad as well. So typically when I say, hold right click down on a trackpad, it's I believe two fingers. So you click with two fingers down on the trackpad and then move the two fingers as you maintain them clicked right on the trackpad. And that effectively does the same thing. And I believe if you scroll up and down with two fingers on your trackpad, it will zoom in and out. The zoom, well, right now I have my mouse, right? So I just scroll with my mouse up and down. That allows me to zoom in and out. If you have a trackpad again on your Mac, I believe it's just like scrolling a page. However you scroll a page will allow you to zoom in and out. Okay. Um, Before we go into more features here, you might want to change your avatar because what you're seeing right now is sort of the default avatar, kind of boring. You can change it to whatever you want. And the way you change it is you click on your little on the little girl with the pencil at the bottom, it's a little icon, and it just say customize avatar when you hover over it. And then it opens this menu on the right where you can change your skin tone, if you have any makeup or different cheek colors, I guess. I'm going to keep this by default, but I can go to the eye section here. Maybe I'll give myself some glasses for fun. Um, like maybe a brown frame or something like that. And then we can go over to the hairstyle. Maybe I'll go a little shorter. You can see all the different hairstyles here. Change the hair color. Maybe like more like uh, just make it crazy. Let's make it blue just for fun. And then shorter, maybe a t-shirt. And then I can go over to the shoe section and opt for maybe a green pair of shoes. I'm extremely not stylish, but I think you get the idea. Um, so once you've customized your avatar, I should remember it for next time around. Um, any questions on that? No? Okay. So so that's for so yeah, your students can also customize their avatar once they're in the playground. And at that point you'll be able to they'll again it'll save for them and next time around it'll remember the avatar. All right, so the next thing I'd like to show is we have actually two ways of using Playground, okay? And it's really up to you, and you might want to switch to different ways depending on what you're doing in the moment. But so I just showed you right now, this is what we call the top-down view, as if like you were sort of like a drone or a bird looking down at your avatar and sort of always being at a fixed angle until you change it, of course, by rotating like this. But um, you can already visualize it's like a bird looking down on your avatar. So we got a top-down view. This is very convenient. Again, get a global understanding of what's happening in your classroom. Maybe be able to move things in areas that are hard to access otherwise. But there's another view, which is the first-person view. And you can change between the views by clicking on the little eyeball button at the bottom. If I click on this and go into what we call the first person view. Okay. First person view, you can see, allows me to see the world from the point of view of my avatar, as if I was the avatar, or the avatar was like holding a camera, if you want, and we're seeing it through this camera. Okay. So this might be better for some of you. And actually, I would argue that first students will probably like this better because it's like more familiar to what they're used to with like Minecraft and things like that. Um, so definitely would recommend, or at least letting them know there's an option, because they'll probably like this a little bit better. Especially like say they build something or they have some exercise that you're trying to like some more interactive game or something you've built, or they built. It's maybe a lot more fun to do it in first person view. Once you're in first person view, the controls are similar, except I would recommend using the arrow keys on the keyboard. So if you have a keyboard with arrow keys, you typically do, you can use up arrow to move forward. Okay, so it'll be like steering a vehicle, right? So you have down arrow to reverse. Okay, so you have forward, reverse, and then you can use the left arrow and the right arrow to look to your left or look to your right. Okay. So kind of like steering the wheel, the steering wheel. So by combining all those four keys, and again, I would recommend practicing a little bit. Your students will know how to do this, but you can actually navigate through maybe more complex configurations compared to when you were in top-down view. So for example, here I can go into this house. And I can really get a grasp for what's inside this house. Well, there's a cool bathroom here with a little ocean view, pretty luxurious. It's kind of empty in here, but in a spider web, yep. But anyways, you get the idea. So yeah, with this, in this particular view, you get a different approach to using Playground. Um, cool. Any questions on that? Nope. All right. So one thing I forgot to mention that in the first person view, you can actually, and you can do it also in top down view, sorry. You can jump. So say for example, I want to go up these stairs. Okay. The way I do it is I just walk to the very first step until I can't move anymore because I'm like against the steps. And I just press space bar. Space bar allows me to jump in general. So by using space bar, I was able to climb the stairs. Now I'm on the roof. If you're really skilled, you can jump from one roof to the next, but like this. So I was able to go and jump, and you can even see, just to get an idea here from the top down, I jumped from here to there. And I believe you can also do it in top down. So if I go, well, it's a little bit more tricky because you get a different sense and perspective in that view. But anyways, so that's for the different views and moving your camera around, etc. There's a third thing you should know about, which I think is very, very helpful, which is what we call the focus view. Okay, or the focus tool rather. So say, for example, you have an exercise. I'll say, for example, like I have this story here. I'll put it over here for now. And I know I'm doing things that I haven't shown yet, but that's okay. I'll get to them in a second. I have this story on this wall, but my student is super distracted. I want them to read the story, but they're not reading the story. They don't even see it anyways. They're over here. Maybe they're playing with the sticky notes. Maybe they're building a snowman. I don't know what they're doing. They're playing. You want them to focus on this wall or on this board here, just for a minute until they go back, and after that they can go back and play again if they want. The way you do this is you click on Focus Tool. So it's this little button. It looks like a little square target. Click on that, and then click on wherever you want to focus. So say, for example, I want to focus on this board. I move my mouse on the board, and then just click. And then everybody in the room, every student, and yourself will be focused on this particular board. And they can't leave until you say so. I think this is one of the most powerful tools of Playground because it really allows you to, I would say, like balance playtime and work time, while like not making it impossible or having to negotiate with your student to move towards an area and like look at a certain thing. So you can really control what they're seeing at all times. All right. So in this view, this is kind of similar to the whiteboard in this view. I can zoom in and zoom out, just like in the whiteboard. I can also pan around by holding left click down, or if you don't like doing this, you can also use these controls at the bottom. So you can use the pad here to pan left, right, up, down, and your student's view will always follow your view in this particular case because we're focused. You can zoom out, zoom in using these buttons if you like. And then again, just like our whiteboard, we can do all the drawings we need to do. We can put some sticky notes if we want to. I'll get into that, of course, in a second, but say, and things like that. Any questions on the focus view while I'm in it right now? So play around with it. You don't have to have a student in the class to play around with it. You can just go to your classroom, go to playground, and start playing with the focus tool. Once you're done with where does the story come from on the blackboard? Yeah, I'll get to that. This is just an image that I had in my library. I'll explain the image thing in a second. And good question, Doug. So once you're done with focus view or focus tool, you can click on return to free roaming. It's this little walking character at the bottom. Click on this, and everybody is sent back to where they were a second ago, or before you went into focus mode. Cool. All right, so if there are more questions on the things that I've showed so far, happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll move on to the to building, adding things to playground. Anybody is like overwhelmed so far? Like this is crazy, too complicated, I'm lost. Sometimes don't get embarrassed if that's the case. It's very, very common for people to get a little bit overwhelmed. Okay, awesome. Okay, thanks, Amber. I appreciate that. I'm just looking for some feedback just to understand what's happening. Thank you. All right, cool. So building things. We're going to start doing things in this playground. I mean, this is the default one, right? But we can do things. We can customize it. We can change anything we want in here. So for example, let's say I want to build a wall for some reason. I'll build a wall I'm going to use it for, it'll be the review wall. Maybe we can review things from last week or something like that. The button you're going to be interested in for this is this little cardboard button in the bottom with like things sort of overflowing from it, right? There's like blocks overflowing and there's like a sticky note coming out of it, things like that. So click on this and it opens a little drawer to the right where you can see blocks and teaching and all sorts of stuff. Okay. And it's maybe a lot to begin with, but I'm going to do it one at a time. First thing is blocks. Let's go to the block section. And when you click on the block section, you see all these materials you can use to build things. And this is very inspired by Minecraft. I mean, pretty much indistinguishable from Minecraft. The only difference is that we have rounded blocks, which I think is nice. So if you click on, for example, let's say I want to build a stone brick wall. So I'm going to click on the stone brick material, and you'll notice that it goes green, meaning it's selected. Now, if I move my mouse, I don't drag and drop, by the way. We're not dragging and dropping things. We're just clicking to select, sort of like if you've used Photoshop, you just select a tool or a color or something, and then you move your mouse and then you apply it. It's like a paintbrush. Same idea here. I select the stone brick as my paint, if you want, and then I move my mouse inside the world, and I can see there's a little ghost block following my cursor as I move it around. And then I can point and click to place blocks. So I'm going to start by placing a block over here. We have a nice block, and maybe next to it. Then just again pointing and clicking. Again, it'll take a little bit of time for you guys to. And then so here, this is a good use case for why would I want to go to top-down view? Well, in this case, it's slightly complicated to lay blocks on the top of these, right? I mean, you might have to jump or maybe create a little ladder or something. Easiest is click on top-down view, and then in that view, it's a lot easier to just lay blocks on the top layer of your wall here. And now we have a nice tall wall of 3 blocks by 4. Yeah. So cool. We have a cool wall. This is how you build things. So you can imagine, of course, we build a wall, but you can build anything you want. You can build a house. We actually have a house over there already. See, it's already pre-built. Build a castle. Students will build crazy things. I know some people build mazes, which is really fun. Tunnels. I mean, really, your imagination is the limit here. So, which I know you don't lack. So, cool. This is how you place. How do I remove blocks? Because bumping into them doesn't really work, and maybe I want to build a little entrance here, or a little hole. So you click on the little shovel, and you click on the block you want to remove. Okay, so maybe like this. And then we've deleted 3 blocks, and we can even go through it. But you're not limited to the blocks that you've placed. You can actually even remove blocks that are already there. Say, for example, here I want to create a little opening. Maybe I delete these blocks here. Cool. And now I want to customize this a little bit more. So I'm going to remove this wooden part. And maybe I'm going to select a different material. Let's pick maybe a cobblestone material over here. And then I can place it like that. And now we have maybe a nicer entrance to this castle. Now watch out, the ice is slippery that you see here. So ice blocks are slippery. So if I just walk on it, you'll notice that my avatar we're gonna slip on its own. Can you stop students going off during lesson and doing this until a time they are able to? Well, like I said, Georgina, there's many ways you do this. One is if you're still in the whiteboard code browser, they're not going to be able to go to playground on their own. You need to click on the playground button to go in the playground. Once you are in the playground and you don't want them to be able to build things, you can actually do this. And let me show it by inviting a student. So I'm going to invite a fake student here. There we go. Well, you can just turn off. I can keep my camera. It's fine. And then, so I have a student joining the room, a fake student joining the room. I'll call him test student. And then, so maybe this is new for you guys. When the student tries to join your room, you'll get a little notification to the bottom left that says student would like to join. In this case, you have 3 options. You can click accept to accept them in the room. You can click hide, which doesn't accept or decline. It just hides the notification until you're ready to decide. Okay, so maybe you're not ready right away. Maybe you're finishing something. So at this point, I can hover over the stashed away notification and brings it back up. And then I can click accept to let the student in the room. I can also click the little cross here at the top right to decline or to cancel the request. Okay. So I'll click accept over here. And then the student will be in the room. So actually you can see them falling from the sky. This is our student. Cool. So a question was, how do I prevent them from doing things? So on my student's camera, which is this particular camera down here, okay, I can click on the little, there's a little silhouette with a lock button. If I click on this, gives me a set of permissions I can allow or forbid or, toggle, basically. So, for example, if I don't want them to be able to place blocks, I can do this by forbidding them their ability to remove blocks and to place blocks. If I've disabled these 2 permissions, they can't place blocks. Okay, but if you really don't want them to be able to do anything, you just want them to focus on the material at hand, again, definitely use the focus tool. And then they can't really do very much until you decide, well, unless you allow them to draw and things like that, but until you decide to go back to free roaming. Hopefully that answers your question, Georgina. If we buy a pre-made world like Leanne's Klinkenberg's, yeah, those are fantastic, by the way. And if you don't know how to do this, go to teachwithkoala.com, click on Marketplace. Let me put the link up down here. And here you'll find all bunch of playgrounds that have been pre-made by teachers. If you're looking for Leanne's work in particular, I think it's just type Cedar at the top, and I think her company's called Cedar Dyslexia, I think. And this will show all of her work. Let's say, good question. So, for example, let's say I purchase one of her playgrounds. I think I have one of them. Let me just check. Yeah, I believe one of these, the Barking Book 5 is probably one of them. So the way it works is once you've purchased it, you click open, it gets copied into your library. Oh, I didn't talk about activities yet. You guys don't know what this is. Sorry. Let me backtrack a little bit. I'm going too fast. So you can actually have multiple playgrounds, just like you have, for example, multiple files on your computer. Say, for example, you have multiple doc or Microsoft Word files, right? Well, you can do the same with Playground. And the way it works is at the top right, I can see the current playground that I'm in right now. It's called Playground Training September 18th, right? If I click on this, I have all my other files, playgrounds, if you want, that I've done in the past. So for example, I have one called Blending Drill Template 1. This is probably not a very interesting one, but I'm going to click on it nevertheless, and it opens that playground. Okay. Well, wow. Well, there's cool stuff in here. Awesome. You can see it's a different playground, obviously, different things going on here. And every time I make a change, say I draw something or add a block or whatever, it gets automatically saved under Blending Drill Template 1 with material. I don't have to save manually ever. Okay. So that's how you change playgrounds. And again, like I said, when you do buy a playground from the marketplace, click open, it'll get copied into your activity, into your playgrounds. So for example, in here I have, you can always search at the top right if you don't see it. I think I have Barton one, this one. And I can open it by clicking on it. It'll open up. Yeah. Thanks. Well, I guess this one is empty. I guess I've modified. Let me find a different one. Sorry about that. I do mess around with my playgrounds a lot, so I hope I have at least no, they're all broken. Okay. Uh, let's see. Maybe this one. Let's check. No. Okay. I have a different one that we can play around with, which is an activity from the marketplace. Let me try this one real quick. Yeah, that one's a good one. So this is a different one that I got from the marketplace. So I purchased it from the marketplace. It appeared once I clicked open, it went to my list of playgrounds. But they're also called activities, by the way. Those files I was showing you earlier. When I open it, it opens that playground. So you'll see here. This is a really cool one by Emily, by the way. She has like a whole home here, and you can see this is great for ESL if you teach ESL. You'll see that she built a whole home here with like all sorts of cool things to do inside. Like for example, there's a little living room here, and she's got a list of labels. You can move them to where they belong. So here, the rocking chair probably over there, and we have an accent chair, which I believe is actually I don't even know what an accent chair is. I believe probably one of these. This one. You get the idea. So when you play around in the activity, that playground that you got from the marketplace, it does modify it. So what I would actually recommend doing is don't use the playground or the activity that you got from the marketplace. Make a copy if you're going to be using it with a student or even to play around with it, to like break it. So like I said, right now, this particular playground here, this is the one I got from the marketplace. I probably want to keep it untouched. And the way that I actually want to use it, if I'm going to use it with a student, is then I click on the three dots and then click duplicate. Okay. And maybe I'll call it something else. Let me call it, maybe I'll call it Dream Home with Test Student, just for fun. Okay. Sorry. Okay. And this will create a copy. Oh, oops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I made a mistake. It will create a copy, and I can use this copy instead of the original, so that I don't break the original. And I can always if I want to create a fresh copy again, I can just duplicate the original. Now, if you've by accident broken the original, what's wrong with my connection here? Sorry, give me 1 second. If you for some reason broke the original, it's no big deal. You can always go back to the marketplace, find the activity again. It'll say buy, but you won't have to buy it. You click on buy and it just automatically, oh, you already have it, and it copies it again as a new copy into your activities. I know you're all really busy. I appreciate you joining. Um, since you all have to run. I don't know what's wrong with this particular activity here. I'll move to a different one. Um, Thank you for joining, Linda and Ula. Are there any questions on any of this so far? Go back to what's the date? September 18th. Here you go. Okay. So I just started covering the things that you can build with. I don't know what the heck is going on with my playground right now. Sorry guys, I don't know what's happening here. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'll just clear the cache. Yeah, in the meantime, happy to answer questions. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I don't know. Something's wrong with my computer here. I apologize for that. I'm just going to create a new activity. Let's see. No questions. Okay, so I'll just create a new one. Hope it works. Come on. Don't know what's happening. I'm really sorry. Might actually need to switch to the production playground. So I'll just go here. Okay. See if I'm more lucky with this one. Hmm. Clearly something's wrong. I'm really sorry. Oh no, here we go. We're good. Never mind. Okay, all good. My apologies for that. So, does each student need their own link? No, Arlet. Like I said, if you click on invite student, and click on the little silhouette of the plus, it gives you a link, which is a permanent link, which is always the same over time, and it's the same for all students. Okay, never changes. So we can do more than just using blocks in Playground. If I go to blocks over here, in the blocks category, I have, like I showed you, the different materials, but we have other things. For example, sticky notes. So if you go into the teaching category, we have a tool called Sticky Note. And click on this, just like placing a block, you select the sticky note, move your mouse in the world, and then click when you're ready. Type the text you want in your sticky note. And now we have a beautiful sticky note in the room, and we can move it around by dragging it and jumping it wherever we want. A little trick here is when you're in first person view, you can click on it and you don't release the left mouse button, and then move your character with the arrows, and you can go to a whole different room. And the whole time you're sort of grab the sticky note with you, so you're dragging it along, and then you can put it wherever you want. So that's sticky notes. You can always edit a sticky note by double clicking on it, change the color, change the text. You can even change its size. So if I select the sticky note, I can change the size over here. I can rotate it, should I want to do that. I can duplicate it, right? I can even lock it in place so that my student can't move it. So this one is locked, cannot be moved. And then, so yeah, that's sticky note. I mean, it's pretty simple, I think. It's similar to the sticky notes you have in the whiteboard. Any questions on sticky note? No. All right. Oh, a new lock is The text also unable to be changed. Yeah, yeah, you can't change the text. When you lock it, it's like completely locked. Yes, there is an audio button. Thank you for asking. So if I click on the sticky note, and it works with images as well, I'll get to that in a second. I can actually attach audio to the sticky note. So for example, I click add audio. I have two options. I can record myself saying something, or I can upload an MP3 from my computer. And then what happens is when you have an audio attached to a sticky note, when if somebody clicks on the sticky note, it plays the sound. And it plays it for everybody, not just for that person. So for example, if you have an image or a sticky note and you want to read out loud what it says on it, you can record yourself doing this, like I showed. Click here, click add audio, record yourself, and then when somebody clicks on it, like yourself, it'll say it out loud. You can put music if you want to put some music. I know a lot of people do that. There's no limit to that. That's actually a pretty cool tool. Thanks for bringing that up. Cool. So that's for audio and sticky notes. Now you might want to put your own images in here because you probably have things you want to show to your student that just not just text or blocks, right? So for that, you click on image library. And again, we're in this menu down here, the little cardboard box menu. You click on image library. And typically when you first open that up, you won't have any images, of course. So you're going to need to upload images. And you can upload images by clicking on select images, and it opens your computer. You can select any image you want from your computer, and it will load up in your library over here. Once it's in your library, it's very easy. All you have to do is, say for example, I have this pile of cash here. I don't know why I have this, but you can click on this, just like a sticky note, just like a block, and move your mouse in the world, and then place it wherever you want. And then just like a sticky note, you can click on it to select it, make it bigger, move it again, maybe smaller, rotate, duplicate, and you can lock it and attach audio to it if you want to, just like a sticky note again. Okay, so this is how you put image. And there's a cool trick that I'd love to show you, which is how do I put an image in the middle instead of it being on a wall like this one? I want it to be in the middle of the room. Say, for example, I have a tree, right? I want it to be against the wall. I want it to be standing in the middle of the room. So if I try to do this right now, broccoli, I thought I had a tree somewhere. Maybe I don't. Well, I have a crab, so I'll work with that. So if I try to stand the crab in the middle, you'll see that it lays flat on the floor. Not very helpful. Okay. What I really want is for it to stand. So the way you do this is you first determine where you want the crab to stand. I want it to stand over here. So I'm going to place a block close by, like here, for example. I'm going to move my crab on the side of the block. Maybe I move it precisely so that its feet touch perfectly on the ground. Once I did that, I used the shovel button, the shovel, to delete the block that's supporting it. And now we have a beautiful crab standing. And maybe a trick is to lock it before you delete the block so you don't by mistake move it again. So now it's locked, nobody can move it, and it's sort of standing in the middle. But yeah, so images, a very powerful tool. You can put images, like I said, animals, whatever you want. You can also put worksheets. So if you have a picture or a scan or something like that of a worksheet, don't have one here. I thought I had one, but you can definitely, add it to your images and drag and drop it, and then use that as a support for your class. Any questions on images? Where do you find all your images? Okay, very good question. So we have worked really hard to collect a huge library of images that you can use for free. And I'm going to give you the link right now. Give me 1 second. I just have to bring it up. There you go. Here we go. Oh, wait, I have to go to it. I forgot. It's the whole thing. Okay. So if I go here, I'm going to paste you the link. So this link is a Google Drive link. And I don't know if you can see my screen right now, or if can you see the Google Drive right now, or are you still seeing Koala right now? I wish I could see what I'm seeing right now. Oh yeah, here we go. You can see my Google Drive. I can see. Okay, cool. So when you click on the link that I just shared, you'll see there's a whole bunch of categories here. What I recommend doing is don't even bother with browsing here. Just or just click on the little arrow next to the royalty, this folder here, basically, and then say download. It'll download everything to your computer. Okay. And once you have it downloaded to your computer, I think I have it somewhere around here. Yeah, once you have it downloaded to your computer, just put it into, sorry, image library again. Select the images you want to put in there, and then just go ahead and select the images that you're interested in to put them in here. And there's a lot. So don't put them all, just selectively add the ones you want. I have a worksheet as a PDF. Yeah, you need to, unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have an auto converter. I'll probably add one though, but I would export it to JPEG or PNG or whatever image format, and then you'll be able to put it in the playground. Good question, Georgina. Any other questions? Has your team added new images to this folder since it was first created? Essentially, I'm wondering if I need to download it again. No, we haven't, Megan. I think no, we haven't. We've collected thousands and then we decided, okay, this is probably good for now. But yeah, good question. Cool. So that was images. So basically with sticky notes and images, you can already do a lot. There's not very much you cannot do. It might take a little bit of creativity, but again, I know that you guys don't lack that. There's another category that I'd love to show you, and we only have about 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna go quickly on those, which is the home and decor categories. If I go in this, we have a bunch of actual 3D objects that you can use. There we go. So we have different categories of objects that you can actually place in play. And those are not flat images. Those are 3D objects. Like, for example, these carrots here that we have here. Those are actual, or this chest here, right? All of those are, or this mailbox. All those are considered home and decor category. Or even the fences here that you can see. Or the snowman. You get the idea. So we have thousands of objects you can pick from. So for example, I'll go into the school category. In the school category, maybe I want to add a slide. So the home and decor objects are actually really meant, I mean, you can obviously, as a teacher, use them and place them in your playground, etc. But the goal originally was you reward your students with gems, and then they use those gems sort of as an extrinsic motivator to purchase things or to acquire, not only the word purchase, to acquire things from this little, it's a store essentially. So for example, if they love to customize their own little room, I know some students for some reason love to recreate the room and playground. They can go into the home category, beds, and maybe like find the cool bed that they like. And they have to get it for 40 gems. Now it's theirs. They can place it wherever they want. So the reaction props are the animated ones. That is correct. Ben. So we have 3 categories of objects. There are static objects, like this bed here. Doesn't do very much. I mean, you can move it around, you can jump on it, of course, but it doesn't react when you click on it or anything like that. Those are the static objects. We have objects that react when you click on them. So we call them reaction props. So if you go in the reaction props category, you'll see we have a bunch. So that was, for example, the chest. Chest is one of them. Or the present is one of them. Okay, you can actually put something in there if you want. We even have doors and gates. So this particular gate, for example, you can place it somewhere and open it up. You know, beautiful gate. So those are what we call reaction props. Now we have another category of objects, which are dynamic objects. In the sports category, for example, there are balls as an example, but all of these are pretty much, almost all of these are dynamic. So if I place a ball in the world, now the ball is not just static and it doesn't just react when I click on it. It also like just physically moves appropriately. So I can actually, if I click on it, I grab it. It's in my hands. You can see. Oh, I just dropped it. Sorry. And I can just left click to throw it. And now you can imagine playing soccer or basketball. Actually, we do have a basketball hoop, I believe, in the sports category. Yeah, I'll just place it just so you can see the idea. Cool. And I know I'm not supposed to use a soccer ball for this, but I will nevertheless. Oh, it might be too big. I see. Yeah, it's too big. Let's use the actual basketball for this, which I know is fits. I'm pretty sure. Um, Here you go. Basket. Yeah, definitely. It's a lot smaller. We made the soccer ball big so it's easy to kick around. I know in real life it's not. Oh, I'm not very good at this, clearly. Let's see if I can get it. Nope. Okay. I'm not going to spend the last 15 minutes trying to get it in there. It is possible, I promise. I've done it. I'm just bad at it. Does the dice roll numbers? Yes, actually. So let's go in that category, sports category, game die, place it, and then same idea. Oh, sorry. I can grab the game die in my hands. I have it in my hands, and I can just throw it somewhere, and I'll just roll, and then I have a 4. Nice. I can just throw this one over here, and I have a 6. And you can have as many game dice as you want in here, so it's really cool. Good question. Cool. So that's for the home and decor category. Now there are other categories which I consider a little bit more advanced. So we'll probably have a more advanced, I think we have one next week, I want to say, an advanced playground training. So on the same, I believe on Thursday next week, we'll have a advanced one. So if you're interested in that, definitely join. Which we'll talk about the action zones and things like that. And don't want to overwhelm you today. So I'd love to answer questions since we have a few minutes left. It's a lot of information. And I'm sorry about the tech glitch earlier. I don't know what happened to my system here. Are there any questions? When you have played around, the lesson is finished, do you leave the room like that? Yeah, you can just leave it like this. Like I said, I would recommend having if you click over here again, in your list of playgrounds, I would always try to keep templates untouched. So if I mean, no, I don't have templates here, but say, for example, I have this activity here. This is my template. Let's pretend this is my template. Okay. I would actually never want to change this one. I would always, before I play around with a student or something, or I use it with a student, I always duplicate it and use the copy, right? So maybe I'll use again, test student, and then use that one. So that one I can mess it up, no big deal, right? Or I can maybe make progress with a student and then pick it up again where we left off at the next session, and it won't affect the template. Can you show again how you move the dynamic objects? Yes, totally. Are the items resizable? They're not resizable. They can be moved. Once you've placed them, you can move them, you can remove them, rotate them. You cannot resize them. Yeah, a good question. Yeah, quickly about dynamic objects. So the way you do it is right now the only dynamic objects are in the sports category. So you go in the sports category and then you select the one you like. For example, this frisbee here. You place it in the world. Now it's placed in the world. Once it's in the world, you can click on it to grab it. Now it's in my hand. You can see if I move around, it's sort of staying in my hand. And then you left click and hold left click to throw it. So we just threw the frisbee. Maybe I can throw it really hard. It's all the way over there. One last thing before I let you go. It's very important. We have actually pre-built templates that you can use for playgrounds. Say you can get some from the marketplace, of course, but we have some that are already embedded in Koala. So when you click on the three the menu at the top right, and then click on Reset Playground. You have options to reset your playground to a fresh one by starting from different templates. So we have the option of just the plain grass field if you want to start really from scratch. But you can also pick the different templates that we have: a summer classroom, a winter classroom that you know already. We have a farm, ski resort, and then we have all these different what we call the walks. So the spacewalk, the desert fortress, those are like sort of linear. You go from one room to the next. So they've been built sort of, if you want to build like a linear progression in your lesson, you can use any of those. But yeah, those playgrounds are free, obviously, and you can just use them as like a reset option. How do students get reward points? Very good question. So the way you do this is, first of all, you need a student in the room. So let me have a student in the room. I just have a student join right now. So I have my student Tess here joining. So just wait for it to join. Okay, once Tess is in the room, I can actually click on the reward button at the top left here. And it's also available in Whiteboard and co-browser everywhere in Koala, not just in Playground. And I have the options for gem. So I can click on gem, and then I can give, so I see that Test, my student owns 0 gems right now, but I can give him 1 gem or more. I can give him 10 gems. Okay. Wow, I have something wrong with my connection today. I don't know why it's so slow. Okay, 10 gems. And now Test owns 11 gems. Those gems follow them from one session to the next. Okay. So they never lose, I mean, unless they use them, they don't lose them. Compared to, which is a difference with the confettis, for example, those don't persist. Or the stars. Hopefully that answers your question, Georgina. All right, 2 more minutes. Any other questions? Hopefully this was helpful. Do teachers have to use gems to add animations? You don't have to use any of this, Amber. If you come to sorry, oh, if you come to the training on next Tuesday, you'll see that actually a lot of teachers don't even use Playground. They'll just stay in the whiteboard or go to the co-browser, and they'll use the Playground maybe for reward at the end. Don't really need to use gems if you don't want to, it's not necessary, but it is necessary if you want to get any of those objects that I showed you. So the sports items, the Halloween items, etc. You need gems for that. Oh, I think she means as opposed to students. Um, oh, okay. So yeah. Everybody needs to use gems if I understand well to get those items. Good question. I understand. Thanks, Ben. Cool. Well, I think that's a wrap then, if I don't have any more questions. But I appreciate you guys for joining. This was really cool. Again, how do teachers get gems? You get 300 gems per month, and they accumulate. You can buy more, I think, if you go and get gems over here. But you get 300 per month, and if you don't use them, they accumulate. Good question. Cool. All right. So again, we'll make this recording available for everybody on our Facebook group. I really appreciate everybody joining. And I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. No. Oh yeah. So we're going to have a more advanced playground training on next Thursday. So feel free to join if you want to. Actually, maybe I'll put the link for that real quickly in the chat. 1 second. When is it? November 7th. Here we go. So I'll grab the link. There you go, and then put it over there. So if you want to join, you can register here, and we'll do essentially part 2 of this next Thursday. All right, thank you, everybody, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.